Okay, so the Steam Deck is a thing, and it's actually a great thing. This new powerful product from Valve is set to be released in just a couple months of this recording, and there's a lot of buzz surrounding this, and rightfully so. This new handheld device is essentially being marketed by Valve as a handheld PC. And as of right now, dev kits have been shipped out to developers who are being able to optimize some of their games to run really well on the Steam Deck for those purposes. And well, as we could expect, some of the benchmarks that they've been finding have been slowly leaking out to the interwebs. And all of this points to one thing. The hype surrounding this device is real. Everything that Valve has been saying about this device in their marketing, their ads, their interviews, they're all being confirmed by these performance benchmarks. So it seems like they're being true to their word in terms of the capabilities of the Steam Deck, which is exciting. And I wanted to give a little bit of my perspective. I'm a newcomer to the whole PC gaming scene. So to be introduced to a device like this is absolutely exciting. And I believe that I am a big target audience that Valve is trying to market to with this new Steam Deck, especially at that $400 entry-level price point that to me was too hard to pass up. So for a person like me who doesn't have thousands of dollars to invest in a very capable high-end PC with all of the latest and greatest components that can run 4K 60 FPS games, that's not me. That's actually not most of us. Some of us have full-time jobs, have families to take care of, and much like myself, we can only sneak in time to play games every once in a while when the opportunity presents itself. And you can pick up and play when you can and pause it when needed. So I'm part of that big target audience. So I want to talk about some of the pros of this device. Now, first and foremost, the internals. We have some very powerful internals in this little handheld device. Maybe not little, but in this handheld device, we have some objectively powerful components. So as I mentioned, I'm new to this PC gaming scene, so I'm not going to act like I know what all of these different components translate to in terms of performance, but I do know some of it. But in any case, we can see that it has a pretty decent CPU, GPU. Others have reported that this is somewhat comparable to a PlayStation 4, which is absolutely mind-blowing. When we come to the RAM, we see it has 16 gigs of LPDDR5, which I'm told is the newest and fastest type of RAM, so that's impressive. And the only main difference between the different tiers of Steam Decks is the storage space. So as you may have guessed, I got the 64 gig version, the entry-level $400 one, because that's the price I want to pay. And you can see the rest of the specs there. I'm not going to go through all of it. There's other videos that do just that. But suffice it to say that in terms of portability and powerful internals, from me coming from a Switch, this is a massive improvement in terms of performance in a handheld. Another pro is the full library of games that we will be able to play at launch. Now, as of recording this, there have been reports of more and more developers and software companies buying into this Linux-based OS that the Steam Deck will be running off of. And with that comes more and more compatible games that we can play natively on this deck. Now, obviously, as a Linux-based handheld, it's not going to play absolutely everything from the Steam library, at least at launch, but it's already got a pretty big list of games that will be compatible once it is finally released. And the trend I see right now is more and more developers buying into this ecosystem to optimize their games to run on this new Steam OS. So think about this, as opposed to going into next-gen gaming, you have to not just invest money in the console, but you have to invest money in all of the next-gen compatible games. So if you're going into a PS5, for example, you have to, well, if you're able to find a PlayStation 5, you have to shell out the money for the system. But also, if you don't buy any games with it, you're not going to have anything to play on your new system. So you have to invest more money in more games that are optimized for a console. Conversely, the Steam Deck will be launching with an enormous library of games that will be compatible to play natively right out of the box. You just sign in, download your games, and you're good to play. You already have a pretty large library to draw from. And another thing I like about the Steam Deck is that it's fully customizable. Remember that Valve is marketing this handheld, it seems to be primarily as a portable PC. They say everything that you can do on your PC, you can do it on this Steam Deck. So there's no need to jailbreak this system because it's pretty much open source. You can uninstall the Steam OS and install Windows. Now, I'm not going to do that, but it's nice to know that the option is there if I ever want to. I like that it is pretty much open source, fully customizable. That's a huge plus for a lot of people. Another cool thing about this Steam Deck is that devs will finally have a uniform device to optimize their games for. So if you think about it from the developer's perspective, it's difficult to have your game optimized to bring the same kind of gaming experience for someone who has a very low-end PC, maybe doesn't even have a dedicated GPU, all the way up to someone with a very high-end PC rig running on high-end GPUs that aren't even attainable to most of the population at this time. Conversely, with the Steam Deck, you have one set of internal components, one screen, one set of controllers that an entire population of PC gamers will have in their hands to experience that said game. So it's easier for developers to create a consistent experience for a wider audience of PC gamers. And in addition to that, it's great to think about the potential future for a lot of games that are already in our Steam libraries, that as more and more developers buy into this ecosystem and the more successful this deck is, we very well may see more games with patches and updates that will allow some of our favorite games to run seamlessly on the Steam Deck with the internals provided. I think we're going to have a continuously improved experience with some of our favorite games. But with all of that comes the inevitable rise of the tribalistic mindsets of some of these degenerates online, giving rise to the console war discourse. If you go online to the cesspool of degeneracy that is the social medias, you'll see that this type of behavior is very prominent. You go into Twitter, YouTube comment sections, and it is just a degenerate wasteland of animosity and hatred. Not everybody, but it's a vocal minority to say the least. But I wanted to bring some perspective. Obviously, with a handheld device like the Steam Deck, the most common comparison will be with the Nintendo Switch. People claiming, oh, this is going to be a Switch killer. There's going to be no reason for anybody to buy the Switch after this releases with its more powerful internals, and on and on and on. I hate to break it to you, but the Switch, Nintendo as a company, isn't going anywhere. You see that there is somewhat of a demographic overlap between users of the Switch and the Steam Deck, but it's completely different marketing demographics. You go to Nintendo and you look at their ads, you look at their commercials, what do they feature? They feature families getting together in front of the living room TV. You have Billy there on the side, and you have Sally and you have Jose playing in their living rooms, Mario, golf, Zelda, and you have like the sports games, and you have the family members, you have mom, you even have grandma getting up in there and doing some fancy gaming moves with the motion controls and all of that. It's very clear who the type of people Nintendo is marketing to. They're marketing to families. The Steam Deck, on the other hand, has a completely different demographic. I highly doubt that you will find a grandma that is looking for little Timmy's new... I highly doubt you're going to find a grandma who is looking for a Christmas gift for little Timmy coming across the Steam Deck and thinking, oh, this is Steam Deck. I think little Billy is going to enjoy this. No, I doubt that grandmothers even know what Steam is, let alone what a Steam Deck is. This isn't marketed for 10-year-olds. You're not going to find the Steam Deck in Target and Walmart. That's not going to happen. Even the way that this Steam Deck is being rolled out, you have to have a prior Steam account to even pre-order this. So in that sense, the Switch is not going anywhere. You're still going to have families and casual gamers buying the Switch. It's a very family-friendly marketing campaign that they have. Plus they have the ease of use. As a parent myself, it's hard for me to commit myself to customizing every little thing for my gaming experience. Sometimes I just want to boot up my machine and play my game without having to fiddle with all these different options. And those are some of the benefits that the Switch has over the Steam Deck. But as Valve themselves have explained, their market is not the same as Switch. They're not direct competitors. And obviously this doesn't directly compete with the next-gen gaming consoles like PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. They're completely different systems, marketing completely different types of gaming experiences. So it's not really fair to pitch the Steam Deck against other consoles like that. Obviously, you can say that this is more of a direct competitor to the GDP devices and the Aya Neo, and that I get. I guess that would be a more fair comparison, although the Steam Deck is a much more affordable option. But all that to say, it just doesn't make sense to trash on other consoles and other gaming communities because their experience with gaming is different than what the Steam Deck is trying to offer. Now, are there any concerns with this new device? Well, of course there is. It's not perfect. I myself have very high but tempered expectations for the Steam Deck. And most of these concerns stem from their hardware track record, which is a fair criticism. They've had Steam machines, Steam Link, Steam controller, the VR set, the Index. And all of them are discontinued except for the Index. And the Index actually seems to be pretty successful from what I've seen. And the whole Steam controller debacle is confusing to me. I actually picked one up to test it out. But Steam has mentioned that they have learned from a lot of those failed hardware systems that they put out before. So yeah, there's some legitimate concerns that people have about this new hardware device coming from Steam, considering their track record. But it seems that Steam has been very transparent about their approach to this and their past failures. And it seems like, for the most part, Steam as a company, they seem to be pretty dedicated to their customer base. They're very consumer friendly, actually, when you compare them to other companies that like to milk their customers dry. And that is actually a fair criticism. But all in all, I think that Valve will stay loyal to this hardware for the foreseeable future. I expect regular, consistent updates for continued optimization. I mean, they're investing a lot in this product. And as time progresses, I expect more developer buy-in to this new Steam OS ecosystem and making more of their games optimized for the device, expanding the library continuously. And, let's face it, it's easier for devs to optimize for the Steam Deck than it would be right now for the Switch. And one other thing I want to mention is the customer service. I think the customer service experience is taken for granted. I mean, it's part of the experience with a device like this, especially a new one. Think about it. In the unfortunate circumstance that you may have a defective component in your Steam Deck, I mean, if their customer service is anything to go by, you could be rest assured that Valve will take care of you and fix whatever is wrong with your Steam Deck. I mean, if you had any other device like the other portable PCs, if you have an issue with it, I would imagine it would be really tough to reach out to the company to get the issue situated. So the Steam Deck has that going for it. So all in all, final thoughts, I say gamers, rejoice. This is a huge step forward for PC gaming and the gaming industry in general. You have a new innovative product in the PC gaming marketplace that will hopefully be successful enough to start trends to have this ecosystem grow and thrive for the Steam community. And that's great news, obviously, for PC gaming, but for general gamers, we got a new product and more opportunities to experience games in new ways. Not to mention, this is a great step forward for Linux-based gaming, which I honestly have no idea about anything Linux related, but it's great to have this new operating system up and running, and I expect a lot if this trend continues and we get more buy-in. Who knows? I'm looking for more and more games to be optimized for the Steam Deck, and very likely down the line we'll have maybe other gaming apps that will be compatible with Steam OS, which is awesome to speculate about. But in the end, we need to stop with the tribalism. All right, don't be that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay.
All of the consoles and handhelds on the market are great for their target audiences, and they're great for bringing in new people into the gaming scene, and that's a great thing for everyone. So needless to say, this is a great product that I'm looking forward to. I'm set to get my deck in Q1 2022, and I couldn't be more excited for that as that quickly approaches. Now, I have a Switch as well. One of the things that I am interested in testing out is how both handhelds look side by side running the same game. So I might do some tests like that in the future. But yeah, this is exciting times. So that's all I got for you. Bye.
Love and pizza!